The Philadelphia Phillies make the trip to Tampa today as the Yankees look to pick up their first win of spring training. Also, we get our first look at Jameson Taillon since offseason ankle surgery. Your reactions coming up next. This is Yankees Game Night. How's it going, everybody? I'll tell you what, Monday afternoons are always better with a little matinee baseball game, even if it is spring training. Let's hear it for that. Ariadna says first win of spring training. Yeah, got our first look at Jameson Taillon today. There were reports that he might not be ready for opening day because of the offseason ankle surgery, but he seemed okay. His fastball was 92. He was spotting it really, really well today. He looked in shape. He looked effortless out there. So really loving what I'm seeing from him. Got our first look this year at Nestor Cortes as he tries to back up his great season last year with another great season. And I contend that Nestor Cortes is the most entertaining Yankees pitcher to watch. I know he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, but he's always baffling the hitters up there, changing up his delivery, changing up his timing, changing up his angles. Jim Cott, great broadcaster, probably the best defensive pitcher of all time, used to say that it really didn't matter how hard you throw, as long as you can put the ball where you want it and mess up the batter's timing. Hitting is about disrupting timing. And Nestor Cortes is a case study for that approach. Higashioka did a nice job behind the plate today, caught a couple of tough pop-ups. He's another guy that looks like he got stronger this winter. A lot of times you see catchers bulk up during the offseason. Then as the summer wears on, their body doesn't wear down as much. They stay a bit healthier. We got to look at Josh Donaldson over there at third base today. Didn't do much offensively, but I love the way he moves around over there at the hot corner. He fields the ball well. He stays low and delivers the ball quickly. I think we're in for a much better year defensively from the Yankees. I just think it's going to be a much more clean season from the Yankees. The defense last year was atrocious. The fundamentals were pitiful. And I think we're just going to see a major improvement. DJ LeMahieu ripped a double to right field today. It was a typical DJ LeMahieuian. It was kind of a Derek Jeter type of hit. It was a line drive to right field. And, his swing looked a little bit quicker to me. I mean, maybe it's just my eyes playing tricks on me. I don't know if anybody else noticed it. I have no metrics to back up this opinion or justify this. And it might be psychosomatic because I want it to be true. But I remember last year thinking that his swing was a tick slower, especially in like April, May, when he was having trouble with the, the high fastballs and the spin rate, things like that. And today, I just thought his swing looked a little bit quicker, a little bit sharper. And it makes sense, if he was dealing with a core issue or a hernia, then, getting that fixed can really improve your rotational ability. Aaron Hicks picked up a double. Then he got robbed by Rhys Hoskins, not known for his defense, of another double shot down the line. We got to see Oswald Peraza, top 3 Yankees prospect, depending on what list you read. He hit some balls hard today. He's another guy that looks a lot stronger than when I last saw him last year. Just 21 years old, so still filling out, still growing. Trey Sweeney, 2021 first-round draft pick, made an appearance at shortstop in this game. I hope we get to see more of him this spring. He was a college player, so he could advance quickly, and he's got a powerful left-handed bat that they think is going to hit for average as well. Apparently, he's got a very good command of the strike zone. Made a nice 6-6-3 double play to end the ball game today. Yankees have a lot of shortstop prospects, so it's going to be interesting to see how it all shakes out. I still think there could be one more move coming. The Athletics still have their two big arms, Manaea and Montas, unless they got traded today and I didn't see it. Cameron Maben worked a full game in the booth today. Thought he did an outstanding job. He brings a lot of energy, just like he did in the field. I just love how he radiates energy. And then Yankees finished this one off 5-2. They hold the lead that they couldn't hold yesterday. I arbitrarily gave the belt to Nestor Cortes Jr. And if you're not subscribed, and judging by the analysis, a lot of the people who watch this are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are approaching 24,000. We're approaching 7 million views. It's growing every day. So please sub and come back often. Yankees win this one 5-2.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Now I'm going to go ahead and read the super donos that came in while I was giving my recap. Just a reminder, if you want to hold your super chats until the recap is done, I'll have a better chance at seeing them. Otherwise, no guarantee that I'll be able to catch them. Earl of Demise says, the EOD is back. Good W for the guys. Hicks got through the game without getting hurt. Big win there. Maybe we'll see a DJ resurgence this season. I'm on the DJ resurgence bandwagon. Appreciate that and appreciate the dono there. Gabrielle Morales says, love the channel. You're part of the reason I'm starting the channel myself. Cortez is someone hoping he gets more recognition this season and more time. Well, I appreciate that, Gabrielle. And good luck to your channel. It's definitely a challenge to grow from scratch in this day and age because it seems like every topic is filled up, but if you work hard, you can do it. Tyone was strong, according to Sean Browning. I agree. I mean, my belt award went to Nestor Cortes just because his innings were so clean. But really, the story of the day, I mean, and somebody got on me the other day because I said key takeaways, but there's really not a ton of key takeaways at this point in spring training. But there was today. The key takeaway for me today was that Jameson Taillon looks healthy. Now, I don't know if he can go 7 innings at this point on that ankle. He's going to have to build that up. But his arm looked great. He was spotting the fastball. He didn't seem to be laboring at all. Didn't seem to have any kind of a limp. Didn't show any after effects. And ankle injuries can be a problem because pitching is as much legs as anything. It's as much legs as arm. You have to really drive off of that mound, and he does a good job using his legs, taking some strain off of that elbow. So, it's just a really good thing that he's back and healthy. Chip says, DJ must be DJ, not 2021 DJ. I agree, 100%.
Yes, I agree.
Unhinged Polls Antonia says, we need a Stanton versus Rottwelt in the weight room when Rottwelt comes back. So Rortvet, I don't even know how to say his name. I'll get it by June, I hope. That's my goal. Rortvet. I'm going to write it down like 100 times on a blackboard like Bart Simpson and pronounce it every time just so I can say it right. Ben Rortvet is struggling right now with a oblique injury. Apparently, according to Brian Cashman, they knew about this when they traded for him. So it's not like something they hid and he's damaged goods. But, the Yankees don't have a lot of catching depth. And it would not shock me if they brought in another catcher because, Higashioka's good. He's a good defensive catcher. Never played a whole season in the major leagues. Without getting hurt, anyway. And then you got Rob Brantley, all due respect to him, another defensive guy. Doesn't really move the needle for you offensively, although he's a left-handed hitter. I think Rortvet, hopefully, can have a little bit more offense than he had with the Twins. I think the Yankees see something in him. He's obviously very strong. And as a very strong lefty, if you can just teach him to hit routine fly balls to right field, he's going to hit some home runs. Ivan Cabrera says, who is starting at second, DJ or Torres? I prefer DJ. I think the days of the set lineup that goes out there 162 times, like the olden days, are over. I think you're going to see DJ sometimes. I think you're going to see Glaber sometimes. I think you're going to see DJ move all over the infield. Rizzo is a guy who's getting a little bit older. He's in his, 30s. I think he's 32 now. So you're going to want to give him a rest once in a while. And maybe against a tough lefty, you play DJ at first base instead of Rizzo, even though I know Rizzo hits lefties better, but you can't tell me he wants to get in there and face Chris Sale. Even though Chris Sale, I think, is hurt right now, too. So I just think they're going to find ways. And look, this is not about Rizzo. I mean, they're going to find ways to get DJ in the lineup, whether it's at first base, whether it's at third base. I made the point in yesterday's stream. Josh Donaldson has had a lot of injuries. One way that you can keep him on the field is just give him regular days off. The Yankees apparently use a lot of modern metrics to determine when guys need days off. But I know that some of those things can be imprecise and things can pop up out of nowhere where you're not feeling great and you need a couple of days. Guys get hit by pitches, you need to miss a couple of days. DJ is incredibly valuable because he can play all over the diamond. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Oswald Peraza, too. He had a great swing. I could see him filling in at shortstop should the Yankees need that. I would feel totally comfortable putting him out there. And obviously Anthony Volpe has been just lights out, at least defensively. He hasn't done much offensively yet, but he's a little bit more of a ways away, but I'm just loving what I'm seeing from him. Go Poke says Oswald Peraza looks like a guy. Sawbelly says, I like the way Andujar is swinging. I said the same thing. I know it's the genetics. I noticed his bat speed today. He had some legit bat speed, and it was not there like that last year. Maybe it's one of those things where, he had that surgery on the labrum. It can take a while to come back and really perform. Greg Bird had that surgery. He's never really been the same, but he had a pretty good year in the minors last year. He has signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. Be interesting to see if he bounces back. I was hoping when he became a free agent that the Yankees would pick him up on a AAA deal or something, just so I could go watch him play at Durham, just selfishly. Let's see here. John Shin says, who's the backup catcher if Rortvet is out? I think it's looking at Rob Brantley. That would be my prediction. Susan Menenga says, what's up, Derek? How's it going? My sound isn't working. There we go.
Hello.
Pamela Davis says Oswaldo Cabrera will be a great utility man in the future. Going to give you the applause for that. Good take, because I think he's exactly what you need in a utility. When you think about utility, you think about a utility knife. It's got a screwdriver. It's got a bottle opener. It's obviously got maybe a couple of different knives for different purposes. Maybe you got a little butter knife in there. If you're camping, you need to butter some bread. Maybe you got a little knife for something, sharper jobs. A utility player should be the same way. Not only can he play all over the infield, he can play second base, shortstop, play a little third base. Don't know if he plays first base. Don't think he does. Doesn't sound like they need him to. But he's a switch hitter. And as a young player, and this is something I wish young players knew more about. Everybody wants to be a star because everybody wants that $100 million, $200 million, $300 million contract. But some players can, if they realize their role, can sink into a role early in their career and have enormous value as a utility player. You think about guys like, Randy Velarde back in the 90s. He was a guy, he was never the same after he became a starter, but when he was moving around all over the infield, he was just a great member of that Yankees team. You think about Luis Sojo. He never became a starter. He was a utility player for his whole career. And as a young player coming up, if you can recognize that the utility role is an important part of the baseball team and not think, oh, I've got to start and be angry that you're not starting, it can do wonders for you mentally, just knowing that you have this role, that you're going to have a ton of value to the team. And being able to switch hit, means he can hit late in the game against righties or lefties. You can't bring in somebody to match up with him. You can play him any day of the week against any pitcher you want to give a guy a day off. So I'm really liking Oswaldo Cabrera as a young player. Super chat from Luke WS says, do you think the Yankees are going to get Manaea? First of all, thanks for the dono. I do. I think Manaea is the guy because he's a lefty, and lefties in general work out well at Yankee Stadium. Going back to Whitey Ford, Guidry, Pettit, CC. The same way that left-handed hitters are great for Yankee Stadium because the stadium is built that way. Left-handed pitchers are great for Yankee Stadium because you've got all this room out there in left field. So even if you give up a 397-foot fly ball to a right-handed batter, it's an out. Somebody's standing under it. So I've always been a big proponent of getting lefties. And also, he's only got 1 year, I think, left under contract, whereas Montas has 2. And so that's going to make him a bit more expensive. Ariadna says, I can see a lot of our prospects being part of winning the World Series. I'm actually hopeful about that. Yeah, Ariadna, I'm going into this season with the perspective of I'm treating this like I did in 2015, 2016. I'm not expecting the Yankees to go all the way. I'm not. I think Toronto's a better team at this point. I think the Rays are a better team. I think the Yankees can be good, can be competitive. I'm rooting for them to make the playoffs and maybe make a run like in 2017. But to me, that's I'm approaching this season as a transition year. I think obviously Judge is in his prime, Cole is in his prime, Stanton is in his prime. You want to win while these guys are in their prime. But I'm feeling really good, particularly good about this batch of prospects coming up, especially Volpe. And I'm high on Everson Pereira. We saw him today. He's got a normal-sized frame. He reminded me a little bit of Tyro Estrada. And he's got some pop, really good bat speed. Trey Sweeney, I'm loving his bat speed. Just looking at these guys, how toolsy they are, has gotten me hopeful. Austin Wells, I don't know if he's going to end up being a catcher, but I love his swing. Marcus Killigrew says, Toronto needs pitching. Toronto has a great rotation. They've got Gossman. They've got Ryu, who is very underrated. They've got Barrios, they traded for last season. I think they might have re-signed him to an extension. I'm not sure, but they traded for him. And then they've got Yusei Kikuchi, and I'm probably missing one. But they've got a good rotation. Elite Assassin says, Maben sounds really good in the booth. Hey, how about a round of applause for Cameron Maben? Sounds fantastic out there. And it is not easy. It is not easy, and I agree wholeheartedly.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Jamie Anderson says, get in on Manaea, and I think we'll be competitive. Love the younger lads coming through. Yeah, I agree on the younger lads.
Yes, I agree.
And I think that Manaea gives you that solid number 2. The way that Andy Pettit was the solid number 2 behind CeCe in 2009. Now, the Yankees already have some really good number 2 options, but, I don't know how healthy Luis Severino can be counted on to be. He looks healthy. He looks in shape, but you have to, there's a bit of recency bias there. He hasn't been healthy over the last few years. Jordan Montgomery, I think, is a great number 3. 3.7 WAR, I think, last year, maybe 3.4. Only a 6-7 record. Kind of wore down a bit down the stretch. But there's no denying that he's a confident pitcher up there. He throws strikes, got a great curveball, gets a lot of swings and misses. And Nestor Cortez, I mean, we talked about before how the lineup isn't going to stay the same every day like it did 20 years ago. the rotation isn't going to necessarily be 5 guys in a row all season long. They're going to work Nestor Cortez in there. They're going to get some of the younger guys some starts. Luis Gil is going to get some starts, I'm sure, if he stays on the team. You might see Luis Medina this year. They still want to keep these guys fresh and rested. And pitching is the most valuable commodity in baseball. It's like the quarterback in football. You've got to protect it to an extent. And I like the idea of when you have a off day that allows you to give some guys, or an off day that allows you to insert another pitcher into the rotation, go into a 6-man rotation for 1 or 2 times, and you do that a few times throughout the year. And also, I think this season is more condensed because of the lockout, so it makes sense that you would want as many starting pitchers as possible. And Manaea, to me, is a perfect fit. Obviously, a lot of teams are in on him, and that's why the A's are holding out. But I think the Yankees, I think they're going to make a strong bid. Benjamin Tharp brings up the other Jays pitcher that I forgot, Alek Manoah. And I'll tell you what, Manoah is not somebody you want to run into in a dark alley. That is a big, bad dude. He's not somebody you want to owe money to, because he looks like he'll ball you up and throw you like in a wastebasket, just like a piece of paper, just crunch you down and shoot you like. He is a monster of a human being, and he throws hard. Elite Assassin says Nasty Nestor could repeat what he did last year.
Yes, I agree.
I agree, and I think in the same kind of role where he pitches out of the bullpen like he did today, and occasionally makes a start. You don't need him to go 7 innings. Give us 5 good innings once every couple of weeks, maybe. You know, and let's be clear. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be times when guys need to step into the rotation for a couple of weeks and get some work in. I do not think he's going to be a one-year wonder. I think I believe in the strategy of pinpoint location and mixing speeds. I believe in that. That's how I pitched. That's how Andy Pettitte pitched. I've seen a lot of guys pitch that way, and I think you can have some success. Wampbag Doodle says, how about Clark Schmidt? So Clark Schmidt actually has an E on the end of Clark. I mess that up all the time too. But I'm just not as confident in Clark Schmidt as a lot of people are. I know he was a first-round draft pick, and I don't want to be negative on here. I try and avoid saying negative things because people get angry. They say, oh, you're so negative, so down on players. His mechanics, to me, have been a mess since the first time I saw him. He opens up the front side, all right? If you're familiar with pitching, you know that front elbow is important. You want to tuck it, right? You want to tuck it, and you want to use your throwing arm to come over the top and keep this front side in. Now, when guys try to throw too hard, right, you end up flying open on that front side. You open it too much, and that puts pressure on your arm, on your shoulder, on your pecs. Like it can create core problems, but mostly the elbow. And he's had some elbow problems. So I just think we need to be wary of that with Clark Schmidt. And also, his angle being down this way, it creates movement on the ball. He misses up and arm side a lot. And I just think he needs to correct some things, and then he can be good. I mean, he throws hard, 95, got a good breaking ball, but I'm just not as high on Clark Schmidt as a lot of people are. Mike Prince says Glaber for comeback player of the year. I mean, I hope so. That would be fantastic. David Sosa says, can the Yankees go to a 6-man rotation? I don't see why not. I know Garrett Cole wants to stay in the 5-man rotation, and a lot of times at this level, the ace kind of dictates the rotation, right? If he's ready to go every 5 days, you'll leave him on a 5-man rotation. But you can see a scenario where you kind of mix and match the rest of the rotation to be on kind of a 6-man rotation schedule. I don't know exactly how it would work out, especially this season with, the condensed schedule a little bit. So it's just something to keep an eye on. All right, guys, I'm going to take off, go get some dinner. I appreciate it. Like I said, like and subscribe. Yankees win this one more time. Mr. John Sterling.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
I'll see you later.